And today on the Ron Johnson Show, we're going to debut a new segment called Run the Play or Call the Audible. You guys have seen Peyton Manning. Omaha, same situation. I'm going to call it audible if I don't agree with it, or if I like it, I'm going to run the play. But let's bring in Sam Ekstrom, our producer. He's going to run it. He's going to pose the question. And now when he gives me the play, he's like my offensive coordinator. I'm the quarterback. So when he gives me the play, I'm going to listen to him in the headset. And if I'm Kirk Cousins, I'm running the play because that's all I can do. If I'm Peyton Manning, I'm changing it. Take it away, Sam.
Hey, I'm giving you autonomy at the line of scrimmage. You can make your own decisions. Here's
so
the
you're
question.
Kevin O'Connell now. So I'm Kirk Cousins. You're Kevin O'Connell. Okay, let's go.
I'm empowering my quarterback. It's a football question because it is a football segment. So the run the play option, Ron, the Vikings are set on offense. They've got all the weapons they need. They've got the offensive line they need. They've got Irv. They've got Dalvin. They've got Justin. They've got Adam Thielen. Or you can call an audible. You can say the Vikings need more on offense. They need to either find another receiver in free agency. They've got to draft somebody high in the draft and add to the stable of weapons on this offense. Are you going to run the play, Ron, or are you going to call the audible?
Looking at my playbook, I think I'm gonna call it audible, but this is the audible I'm calling. I'm not completely changing up the play. I'm a motion a guy over, which means I need to add something to it. I need to add something. I don't know if it's a weapon per se or maybe an offensive lineman, but I do want to add something to it. I'm also gonna add another tight end to it. You lose, you have Irv Smith come back off injury, and you lose Conklin. So I don't know if it is trying to get Kyle Rudolph back at some capacity. I don't know if it is in the draft. There's a sneaky tight end in the second, third, fourth round that we don't really know about that the Vikings have their eye on. But I do feel like the way you look at Tyler Higbee with the Rams and you look at his production and what they got out of him, you look at the 3 to 4 receivers they had there with Van Jefferson. And again, I'm using the Rams because of Kevin O'Connell. I think you and then T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. I feel like you do need one more small little piece. I don't mean like a $104 million extension type guy like Stephon Diggs. I would say you need just another piece. You need one more solid guy. I think KJ Osborne, Justin Jefferson, and Adam Thielen are very good. That's a good trio. I do think you need that Don Beebe type, that guy that can be on special teams, but also he's going to come in and be a serviceable guy. But I mean, Don Beebe, if he was in today's football, you're going to run some motions with him. You're going to run some jet sweep reverses. You're going to try to get some sneaky production out of him, where back then when they had leather helmets, they weren't real creative with the offense. And so I'm going to call an audible, but I'm not completely Peyton Manning this thing and tearing it down. I want to be able to just add maybe one piece here or there. If there is a receiver in one of the third rounds, second, third round, and you think that's the way to go, I'm not opposed to that as well, because you look at the $104 million Stephon Diggs just got with an extension, tying him to the Bills for 6 more years, $124 million. Justin Jefferson is going to want $200 million. I mean, so you have to look at that, at least $124 million. I mean, let's be honest. So you have to look at that and say, do we need to go get another cheap receiver? Because if we can't afford, like, if they do that with Jefferson, they can't keep Thielen, and that's going to be the chicken or the rubber meets the road. If he wants that money, Thielen, they can't afford a Thielen. You're going to have to construct a Bills type of receiver room. You look at it's Diggs, and then it's a bunch of other guys. And I think that's what you decide. Is that what your offense is going to look like? And that's why I say you add a piece now, because you get a young guy like a Rondale Moore. You saw what he did for the Cardinals. Like that's the kind of piece that could be added to be a little bit of explosion.
Yeah, I'm good adding those receivers for depth in the draft, because we've seen how impactful rookie receivers can be. The learning curve isn't quite as much anymore. There's just this depth of receivers coming out of college where I think you can find a quality receiver to add to your room to be a wide receiver 4. They can kind of be there with Amir Smith-Marset as your guys coming off the bench. And I'm okay with that, finding someone like that in the draft. Where I would want the Vikings to add, call a little audible, is to do whatever they need to do, clear up some cap space, restructure Dalvin Cook's contract maybe. I know they have the option to do that. And go upgrade your center position. J.C. Treader is sitting on the free agent market, one of the best pass blockers in the last 5 years. Cleveland had to cut him because Deshaun Watson was pretty expensive and they needed cap space. And Treader is getting older, but there's been no drop off in his play. If you could structure a contract right, so he's only costing you $3-4 million in the first year, I think the Vikings could afford it. And I think that's the biggest liability right now on this line is the center play. I mean, Garrett Bradbury, unless he is unbelievable in the Kevin O'Connell scheme, he has not proven to me that he can protect Kirk Cousins well enough. I think that still is a red flag on this offense. So I'm bolstering the offensive line still in free agency if I can, and then I'll find more weapons in the draft.
Well, before we get out of here, the one thing I will say is I feel like Kirk Cousins can help his center out. If he's able to change the protections a little bit more, if he's able to do some of those things where if he sees, two guys in that gap where he's like, I don't think he can handle this, and just change the play to some quick hitting bubble screen to Justin Jefferson with Adam Thielen blocking on the outside or vice versa, a quick hitting jet screen or tunnel screen to KJ Osborne where, you're using the horizontal pass game as a hot route, and versus just completely going hot route. And if you get pressure, you just say, you know what, like Odell Beckham, like I said, like Jamar Chase, you use like Tyreek Hill, use those guys horizontally. We didn't do that. We didn't throw hitches and slants. I mean, look at the number of hitches and slants Odell Beckham caught. We didn't run hitches. Like hitches, I don't know why. That's what I, as a kid, I played running back and I learned how to run a hitch at the age of 8. So I don't understand why the age of 28, so many offensive coordinators have gotten away from the hitch and the slant. Like now it becomes, I got to have this great, cute offense. And up until Peyton Manning retired, hitch was the number one quick game out of his playbook. I'm just getting out my hands quick. I'm going to get into Marvin Harrison or Reggie Wayne's hands, and I'm going to let these guys work. I'm going to give – and it's 5 yards. I don't have to worry about getting sacked. The worst that can happen is my tackle doesn't get the D lineman's hands down and they bat it down. Other than that, it's like an 80 – it has to be 80 or 90% completion rate on hitches. And that's what I think needs to come back is some of the basics within football that when you're seeing these weird coverages, because if he presses, a hitch turns to a fade. And so you have Justin Jefferson, you have Adam Thielen, one of the best, I'm not going to call him a ballerina, but one of the best guys at being able to turn his body and contort his body to make a catch. That's my thought on what we can do to help the center out. But I do like J.C. Treader if they can find a way to make this work. And, Rob Brzezinski is a money magic man. He has a lot of work to do this offense.